Today we're going to pop in and check out this clip with Donald Trump and Harvard University apparently clashing on the funds that the government has been giving them year in and year out and decade in and decade out. Now Trump has different demands and different requirements, and it ain't going over so well with Harvard over there, and they're bucking it and resisting. It's strange to me that a private institution can even say anything. I mean, if the government is giving that private institution funds, whatever they tell that private institution, they should have to do, contingent to get that money. And if they say, no, we don't want to do that, then just get the money back. And that's the end of the conversation and the relationship as far as that goes. I would think that any financial institution that wants to really exercise freedom in its academics and programs underneath this jurisdiction there at that college would not want the government funding or the government hand in it in any way. Because if you take a university like that is churning out some of the top performers in the world, let alone the United States, and usually world leaders scattered amongst the ranks there. So do you as a government want to sever that relationship? And do you as Harvard want to sever that relationship? And everyone has grown to love it and become very comfortable with it, with not a whole lot of hoopla, and then this guy comes along and he's saying that he can't deal with the anti-Semitic protests that are taking place there. The people who deem what Israel is doing to be a genocide, and they're protesting on college campuses, which is where that's where the most informed, they're living in the moment. They paying attention to the news. They're being educated along those lines and about world events, and you get that type of activism at that age and at that time in folks' lives. And Trump wants to suppress it and stomp it out because some of these kids come from abroad and they're not American kids or kids from the United States. So they come here and he takes it personal, like they're hating the country, but they can hate an international conflict or act without directing that at the country. And I think in most cases that's what they do. However, the government is complicit in a lot of the killing that's going on around the world. And some of these people are from these parts of the world and they are going to protest. It's a real tough situation when you really think about it, but it ain't so tough that you make a rule and abide by it. You get my funding, you do this, you don't, because right now we're at an impasse, and I believe that it's been going on for so long that Harvard feels entitled. That's billions of dollars we can scratch off the list. Let Harvard do their thing and keep the money in the budget and redirect it somewhere else or do something else with it. Let's see what they think. Black Popcorn, he got the answer. But by the time I listen to this story, I am one who lives and learns, and I was watching this story and eating. So we're watching this together for the first time, and I really do want to absorb some of this because the redhead girl appeared to be quite knowledgeable about it and needs to be listened to on that front. But god damn, Harvard is like at risk for losing billions of dollars, and it's pretty much going to happen if they don't do what Trump wants. And it just makes everything so different as he's coming in and hitting it. And everybody's like, And it's other presidents who've spoken in areas where they made people uncomfortable and they didn't have everything lined up, including within their own party, let alone having a supermajority. But even having a supermajority is nothing if you don't have those people working together. And that's been the case in a lot of instances, on both sides. And this time it ain't. This dude is basically going out and about with a credit card that got an unlimited amount on it. And people are like going, wow, he ain't bluffing. And he ain't. He going in there pretty much. Apparently, he's talked to somebody, because if Donald Trump go back and have to use those cards that he's out there playing, he's gonna be a problem. If they don't back him up, if they make him look foolish by not backing him up after he done went out and big talk somebody, that's gonna be a problem, a big problem. But here we go, folks. We're gonna check out this clip, and we'll carry a little commentary here and there along the way.
Well, it's true. Harvard is the richest university in America. They have a $53 billion endowment. No one comes close. 70% of that money is restricted, so it doesn't appear as massive as it seems. But in theory, they could afford to try to spend some of that endowment. Last year, the endowment contributed $2.4 billion to Harvard's budget of about $6.5 billion. But the federal government has, they get a lot of money from the federal government. And I guess the question is, are they willing to risk it? And you saw President Trump on Truth Social just a few minutes ago saying, well, he's perhaps going after their tax-exempt status. So it's unclear.
Wow. I mean, I just actually had some experience over the weekend on this at a place of higher education about the finances there. And for top research universities, and this is a private-public relationship that really started after World War II, which is when the America said, we need to be the leader in.
So since World War II, it's strange, though, when you really think about it. I mean, because what if other private institutions felt, hey, why are you giving Harvard so much money? And they're churning out world leaders like other institutions do, just not at that high level. I mean, it would just make you kind of be a little jealous as another institution, or a little suspect of what the heck is going on over there. But they have a relationship, as do many other colleges around the nation. But it's just strange that any institution has an issue with what directives they're getting from the government, especially from the executive branch. And they're like pretty much standing their ground and saying, heck no. I know there has been instances from the inception that the government would not have just said, hey, I got a great idea. How about we just give you some money and then you just go do whatever you want with it? Nobody does that. They probably said, hey, we got some money for you, but you have to stop teaching this, or don't get rid of those classes or those programs, or don't let those kind of kids in. I mean, whatever they want to do, they're going to get for their money. And things have changed over time, and it's way more palatable than it ever has been. But Trump is reminding us that the government has the power to control, to a great extent, research. I'm sure that's just one area we're talking about, is the research endowment. The research money that they're going to get from the taxpayers. But instead of that, Trump is making noise where there shouldn't be any, or should there be? He just seems like he's going around rattling and making noise all over the place. And everybody thinks he's just, it doesn't appear to be trying to take over the country, in my opinion. He definitely is showing us that this size that we've been wearing for so long is getting tight. And we didn't even realize it. And it has elastic in between the belt and loops. You can just pull on it, Lord, and loosen it up. He's letting us know this. And no other president seems like they were aware, or they didn't want us to be. And I don't think Trump is a genius. I think he's doing it out of ignorance. I think he's doing it out of spite. I think a lot of the stuff he's doing is part of his agenda. I believe he really does have an agenda, but his agenda is still within the realm of the Constitution, but outside the realm of what the liberals like. So it seems way out there crazy, but it's just another party who has a different plan. And the Democrats have been talked about the same way by the Republicans. That's why when you sit there and you listen, we're not going to lose the country. Not at all. Not by lunch. And if we do, it'll be because of our 37 trillion going up and up and up and becoming unsustainable. But I mean, it won't be because Donald Trump came in and decided he don't want Jewish people heckled or talked about or having protests going on in universities, and that they have to feel safe and comfortable. And I think that I'm beginning to see a pattern where it's very important to Donald Trump that the people that he like or favor feel comfortable, and everybody else has to do something to make them comfortable. If you're an illegal immigrant, leave. If you're black, don't bother them people. Just chill, do what come answer when we need you for whatever. But I just believe that he is a person who really believes in statuses and categorizing folks. And we've been categorized by him, definitely as black people, and white people have been, and Jewish people obviously, and everybody else in between. And we need to figure out if we're going to let him take that racial switch that hasn't been touched in a while and turn it up, or are we going to take it and turn it off? Because it wasn't off. He's just turning it up more. But I think we need to turn it off and then see if the Democrats support that, because they were okay with the government having a hand in the running of these institutions as long as they were that government and their ideas and beliefs within reason. But somebody comes along who a little different than you, but still operating under the Constitution. The Constitution was built to do exactly what he's doing. The nation ain't going nowhere. It will be saved. But Donald Trump needs to be reined in by the provisions that are put there to rein him in. And if he ain't going to be reined in, then it was meant to be, and it can be what it is. But they can't expect that taxpayer money and then just go on and do whatever they want. What Donald Trump is telling them isn't what each individual taxpayer would tell them. But he won an election, and if anybody else did, they'd feel, I'm the president. Every time I get ready to do something, I'm not going to pick up the phone and start calling all my people and saying, hey, I know you guys voted 3 years ago, but I was thinking. Nobody's going to do that. So when you vote for somebody, you have to like them enough to trust them for this kind of stuff to happen. So any people out there who voted for him, it is what it is. For those of you who didn't, it is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it except to understand that it swings both ways. It's not always going to be this way, and it ain't always going to be that way. We have lived long enough to see this. But I think Donald Trump is onto something. Actually, he's bumbled into this one, I think. I don't think he did it on purpose. I don't think he strategized it. But he bumped into something, and I kind of got remnants of it early on. It's here. Everything he touches, he's letting you know this can be touched. And when we see him move that knob, and these colleges that want to still do business with the United States government by getting that money, and they say, well, we'll just do what they say. We'll get rid of the DUI. We'll whatever you want to DUI. And the college, they need to get rid of the DUI programs as well. But DEI, get rid of the DEI. And when the DEI is gone, and the maybe in 20, whenever the hell it happened, and the Democrats win again, then let's ask them. Now your hand is on that knob, that racial knob for the universities and Jewish people and all the things that Trump turned that knob up to make other people feel uncomfortable while making these people protected and feel more comfortable. And what are we going to do then when the Democrats' hand is on it? Are we going to make them turn it down or off? Are they going to put it back where it was? And when they take it, hey, what are you doing? Keep going. You think they'll argue with you? Do you think they'll be in agreement? Because the knob is on, and we okay with it. We just don't like where it is, though. Where Trump's trying to put it, because we don't like him. Let's turn it off all the way. Let's see Harvard change. Let's see all these institutions change. If they have direct connections with the best of the best, the cream of the crop. You get a Harvard graduate, graduate, you got it going on. Hey, my son, he's due to graduate Harvard in about a year and a half. Oh, don't worry about it. Send him over. And then people be, hey, where's that kid? Oh, I'm sorry, he went somewhere else. It's just opportunities on top of opportunities. But it's racism in there too, and we need to worry about not being so ignorant that we fight hard to get Trump, the man who caused us to be adjusting this volume anyway, opening the window, letting more air in, turning the fan up, or whatever he's doing. It is an opportunity for us to respond, and this will be a great response. Is to remind the party that most of us are a part of to say, hey, or, were a part of, have loved ones exiled over there. Just tell them, hey, turn it off all the way and let's see what they do then. And if they don't, then you'll see what I'm talking about, because I don't think they will. They're not willing to turn it off all the way. They just want to get it to a comfortable level so they don't look so bad and you don't feel so bad. You're going to feel bad, just not that bad. And they don't want to feel bad at all. And it's a terrible thing to feel that and to see that in the speech, in the interview, in the conversation, in the idea that $2 billion, less than $2 billion, 1.3, 1.5 is what all the SBCUs get, all of them. They don't have it proportioned. Like the really, really, really good ones should get like a whole lot of money. Like, so they can be like the Harvard, at least for blacks. If you can't have a Harvard, where everybody can go, at least give us an elite school that at least the top tier businesses go, hey, that school is legitimately real and competes with Yale and Harvard in these arenas, in these areas, not as a complete institution, but that black institution has some exceptional programs funded properly, obviously. But that's not the talk. The talk is Harvard. You guys are talking about if the Harvard alumni and members of Congress who will be voting on their alma mater. I mean, come on now. We know how this is going to go, but Trump is basically strong-arming the Harvard alumni, telling them, and any of them guys, no, we're gonna make them do this. We're gonna twist their arm behind their back, and they're letting them do it. I'm telling you what, as a kid, if Trump would have grew up where I grew up, he'd have had a whole lot of fights because he's a bully and he's a big dude. And being big would have got him into a lot of fights with that attitude. I cannot believe that he is that kind of only because I think if he was really trying to really propel us to something good, that it wouldn't be the way he's doing it. You don't have to argue and fight with people. You could get most of this stuff done if you call the lady, hey, next time you're in DC, come see me. Let's talk. Make an appointment. And figure it out that way. By figuring out what she really wants, what's important to her. And let her leave with a little more than the whatever you was going to give her. And let her know you appreciate her working with you. Because the government has a lot of influence. There's no way. I guess in the HBCUs too, when you think about it. I mean, if you're a really intelligent black person, you go to a HBCU, it's funded well by the government, and you're kind of being eyeballed as a top performer in whatever the hell it is you do, and they like you. They go, hey man, this one here is coming out a little better than the others. He's gonna be sharp, and we can trust him. And that's the thing. You can't come out of a HBCU with a radical mindset and a radical attitude and a real good moral code and wanting to see things the way everybody say they want things to be. You really doing things, making it happen in that direction. You're not going to work. It ain't going to work for them. But that's what we need to see is our HBCUs funded to the gills and above the, hey, if you give them a little extra, so what? It don't have to be so precise. Just give them a whole lot of money and let them put it toward education, and let us feel what it's like to just get to the point where it ain't about the material part or the equipment or any of that. The only way your education can improve from that point is just the dedication from that high paying, the high salary that teacher who's helping you out is getting. That just will motivate the heck out of them. They'll give you a ride home and all kind of extra stuff that you don't get from a teacher who's just looking at their watch and they figure when I get paid Wednesday. Oh boy, you know. You want some passion and some love and some understanding from somebody who really want to see it through. And we're here talking about Harvard. It's gonna go all the way down. Hey, he ain't gonna just tell Harvard to with the anti-Semitic this and what is it, vetting students before they let them in and all this kind of thing. It's gonna go all the way down to the little schools, so that these kids in the United States of America, whether they're native born here citizens or come here through immigration, they're gonna make sure 100% that they understand the order of this country through the school system, through the social system that Trump would like to set in place. It's really kind of unfortunate that by now we should have progressed further than this, that we can't even be fooled or tricked or snapped back into this. Everybody should have already have seen the benefits of a proper integration and a positive integration where everybody is being or having their needs met. But when that doesn't happen, this is what you get. All it takes is one person to just dial that back real quick, and before you know it, it was looking really bad really fast, and everybody's blaming this guy like he didn't do anything. He just took the stopper and pulled it out the and all that water is going down the drain. It is what it is. But we have put him in a position to be able to do that by not eradicating the racism and not eradicating the bad, unfair treatment in our schools, in our colleges, in our universities, and in our society. It's so many other ways. As soon as we stamp a few of those little fires out, more will pop up. But we have to be diligent. I mean, look at, he's just one man with a bunch of advisors hiding in the shadows, whispering in his ear. But at least if he is going to expose it, then we have to get rid of it. We can't expose it and put it back on the shelf the way it was. We have to do something about it.
Key industries, technology, healthcare, so on and so forth. We think the best way to do that, this is the U.S. government after World War II, is a public-private kind of relationship. And right now, the relationship is about 2/3 federal funded, 1/3 private funding, including the universities themselves.
And if it's 2/3 public funded, 1/3 private funded, that's your university. Say no too many times to that, man, and you won't have a college. They'll be shutting the doors and putting the plywood on the windows. And that's not going to happen because there's too many high-level people in this country who love that university. Ain't going to let Donald Trump do that to it. And that's why his style of negotiating and the way he's so unserious based on what we've all been seeing. It appears unserious, but he is serious. He's serious about trying to get something, and it may not be what he's making the most noise about. But whatever you end up settling with him on, that's what he really wanted. And he's doing whatever the hell it is he's doing. I'm not going to compliment it because I'm just glad that it's alarming us so that when a little bit more time goes by and we revisit this stuff again, it'll be just like it is now because it is not being eradicated. It's just being kicked down the road and dealt with. And this is a wonderful opportunity, Wall. We have no majority nowhere to do anything, to work on ourselves, work on the things that we can work on, work down in the communities where we do have. If you have a mayor who's a Democrat, if you have a governor who's a Democrat, your state house and all of that, get down in your communities and make some things happen. Trump is up there on the federal level swinging a bat at all kind of who hell knows what, but go down on the local levels then. And let's see how serious you are, and let's see how far we can get. Because I think we should have a great opportunity. Just get out his way. Let him and Harvard fight it out. Honestly, I don't think that I have any room to really speak between what's going on with him and Harvard, but the thing that it's opening up, that portal that's popping open for us to get into, yeah, that's something. And he has let us know that our presidents have basically been bullshitting us about the things they don't want to swing things too far because it can upset the ship. You gotta definitely. It's easy for a guy to do one term as president. This don't change nothing too majorly. Just be real careful, and you'll be fine. But if you want to go in there and be aggressive like Trump and bumping into things and knocking stuff over, you're gonna hopefully have a plan so that it is not a catastrophe. But if he don't have a plan, it's gonna be a catastrophe. A lot of people think he don't have a plan. I happen to believe he has a plan. I don't think it's a good plan, but he has to have a plan. And even a president without a plan cannot supersede the Constitution. And the United States of America will still be the United States of America after Donald Trump. And with a little more exposure, as long as we take it for what it is and don't interpret it as him attacking Middle Eastern people or him attacking Asians or him attacking blacks. That's what we need to be concerned with, is that we don't empower him to do that kind of thing or anybody beyond this point. Once we figure out what it is he's doing, turn it off. And watch how the country feels. Watch how different people act when nobody's frustrated, nobody's mad anymore. And the opportunities really are opened up, genuinely opened up for one. We're getting to a point where most people who will interview you, unless they're like really deeply into some ethnic group that only hires their own kind, and most people don't really trip like that. They hire who they hire, and it is what it is. And that's a beautiful thing about the country in general. But there are pockets and there are places, and they usually exist in the jobs that are more desirable and in the areas that whatever you do, you can't get to. That's that feeling of racism that you can't really explain, but you feel the inability to do something that you should be able to do, that you've done everything they told you to do in order to qualify the prerequisites to get there, but it just don't work out. And we all know to some degree, but the higher up you go, the more resistance you feel anyway. And then you begin to feel and see and understand things that you didn't even know existed before because you weren't threatening anybody for anything. You were basically in the area where they want you to be. But once you go above that area, it's a problem.
That's big money for a lot of these universities.
It is big money, and we've written that many times. And the federal government also gives students billions of dollars to attend universities in the form of federal student loans and Pell Grants and other grants. So colleges are quite dependent on the federal government, and they're exercising their views and saying, look, we give you a lot of money, and if you don't make changes, we have the right to take that away. If they say if you don't follow the law. And in talking about their issue in some ways DEI, if you don't follow the law of their saying discrimination, we can yank your money away.
So with the sources that you're speaking to, Janet, is the expectation that Harvard will remain resolute in this where they are right now, or do people think that they're gonna essentially cave? I mean, I saw you wrote a story earlier last month about the Columbia president stepping down, and I remember that they had initially been kind of trying to stand their ground as well. So what are you hearing from sources about what people are thinking Harvard might do?
Well, I don't think it really matters what people think. It matters.
I hate when people answer questions like that. I don't think people really matter. She asked her a well thought out, long ass question, and I don't think it matters what people think. That's messed up.
Matters how they're going to get through this, because they are dependent on the government for a lot of money. Now, if you look at Columbia is poor compared to Harvard. They only have $15 billion. So it's uncertain what happens next. I mean, the ball is in Harvard's court. Are they going to litigate? That could take quite a long time. What happens if labs are closing, or they're from past experience, we're going to get stop work orders. we've sort of seen this already with a couple of schools getting stop work orders and getting, money frozen.
I mean, what are some of the alumni? Is there a consistent reaction from the alumni, either in support of Harvard or maybe not supporting them?
Well, I think some alumni have posted on various social medias. People are happy that somebody has stood up to Trump, but you have to remember the federal government has a lot of power.
Yes.
And
It has a whole lot of power, but a lot of the federal government are the alumni of this damn college that's having this little impasse with this president. And I think they're going to be able to work it out. I just think it's one of Trump's ways of running up and startling you and catching you off balance and focused on something that really upsets you, while he really is going to seem way more reasonable when he tell you what he's willing to go for. And you're going to be like, oh, well, if you just told me that at first, I wouldn't have had a heart attack. Oh, well, I thought about it. He ain't doing nobody no favors. But it's a bunch of chaos and disorganization. But I believe that it still can be, in the end, a really good thing. It can turn around and turn out to be a really good thing if we take advantage of this opportunity and don't go so excited when he is gone away, and when things do go back to what we all know as normal. We can't accept this. There's people who've been complaining long before Donald Trump. And if they've been complaining before Trump, where did that racism come from? Where did that feeling come from of being oppressed and held back? It didn't come from Donald Trump always. So we need to be realistic about that too. And like I said, he's just trying to use shock language and a really arrogant way of moving about, and it's going to unlock some things that he may later regret, and it's going to be recognized, I think, after we've gotten through most of this, as that period where Trump's advancements or aggression will be met with that type of resistance that might turn into some type of a little bit of a revolution or a movement of some sort. I feel that way. I just wouldn't probably not feel that strongly, but I feel very strongly about it because the Tea Party. I thought the Tea Party was not a joke, but not what it turned out to be. I was like, wow. I mean, it just lets you know when people unite and get together and pound that pavement and message properly, it can happen. And you can only always keep hope alive for that.
Perhaps $53 billion seems like a lot of money, but I mean, how much money does the federal government go through in one day?
So what are next steps here? I mean, I see that the Harvard has officially rejected the administration's demands here. So
we're in uncharted territory.
Okay.
If you asked me to predict,
you guys notice we keep hearing that too with Trump. We're in uncharted territory. We're in uncharted territory because he has no problem taking us in places that make other people uncomfortable, and he's comfortable making other people uncomfortable. He's no more comfortable than anyone else is about the particular situation, but by you being more uncomfortable than he is, he gets some kind of comfort in that. And that's very unfortunate for most people, because who in the hell can feel uncomfortable? I mean, can feel comfortable when the president of the United States is throwing curveballs at you, and putting things out and pulling them back. I mean, nobody really stands a good chance against that. And most of the things that he's actually proposing or pretending that he's going to do, he realistically could almost do if he really pushed for it, any of it. But it would be like some really like earth moving kind of stuff if he did. And I don't think he is or will. I just think it's his way of, letting people feel his presence, feel his presidency, feel how he is, feel the kind of man he's going to be when he's around. It's like, goddamn, it's very unsettling. And shit, you guys, damn well from the time he swore in to now, we have had more talk and conversation and activity out of the White House than I think we got in the whole 4 years of Biden, honestly. And that's not a slight to Biden or nothing. And just realistically, this dude Trump has been on one day in and day out. On to the next one, something new every day.
Any of this, it's hard to know.
I see in your story you say that former Harvard president Larry Summers says that the statement drew support from him. He said that he hoped other universities would adopt a similar stance to defend academic freedom. Is he alone in that, or are you hearing other people on the same side?
I think there is an interest in having entities try to stand up to Trump. We saw this with some law firms, but in some ways, the federal government holds all the cards.
What are other universities doing? Have we heard from anybody else? Has anybody been in it?
Shit, the other universities are listening like, what's he going to do next? I mean, you really want to know that when the president comes to a college university level, although it's Harvard, this ain't just any college either, but even the lesser colleges would look around and want to know what the heck is going on and how is this going to end? Yikes. And his agenda items for what he wants changed is just crazy. It's so un-2025.
A target like Harvard has been?
Princeton has.
Okay.
Princeton's president has been outspoken. But keep in mind, Princeton, while they've produced many Nobel Prize winners, they do not operate a medical school. Most
Right.
of the grants are NIH funding, grants to medical schools, grants for scientific research. There's only a handful of schools that are receiving the kind of money that Princeton, Stanford, MIT also does not operate a medical school, but their had also received cuts in Department of Energy and Department of Defense. So remember, NIH is one federal agency. It's the biggest, but there's a lot of them out there. I believe Cornell had frozen funding from agriculture.
I tell you guys, I was not expecting Trump to be that aggressive. Now, yeah, wow. I mean, whoa. It's different than it was, I tell you. And we're feeling it. I know. We're all going to get through it, too. Let me say that first. It ain't like Trump is going to ride into town and when he leave, there's going to be bodies laying all over the place. And that's the feeling that I get from the Democrats, that they're trying to pump that into us. And we better than that. Even if we make the wrong plan, and even if it isn't the best plan, it's going to be okay. And we're going to be fine with whatever direction we choose to go in. Donald Trump and his bully, it's like the bully on the playground. He out right now pushing folks around. But if we hold together, it'll be all good. But we also know that he is not the only bully on our playground, and there are others, and we must treat them the same. Don't get comfortable being bullied. If your mom gives you $1.25 every day for lunch money, and you get a bully 50 cents, you think life is good because you can afford it? No, it's not. Tell your mother to not give you that 50 cents. The rest is yours, and you tell that bully he ain't getting his 50 cents no more. And you saved your mom 50 cents. And just use that 50 cents to get some ice or something, because he probably going to hit you. Anyway, like, comment, share, and please subscribe. And see